How they responded?
I mean, you know, you talk about a group of kids that after a game were, you know, it's tough because kids were devastated, obviously, with the outcome, and you know, it was emotional for some guys, but it was wild. It was a group of kids, you know, after a game that you actually saw like eagerness to want to come back here and get back to work. You know, I mean, when you make progress, typically, you know, the kids see that it is process over results, and the result will come when we truly all deserve it and we do it the right way, and ball bounced our way, we make a couple more plays, make a couple better calls, whatever it is, the result, you know, will come. But you did feel the kids' enthusiasm for the process of what occurred, you know, Saturday night in some ways.
Do you feel like you and Devin are starting to really learn each other even more now, like what he's good at and what kind of play calls he likes to see?
Yeah, I mean, I just saw a kid, you know, really kind of dominate a game plan. I mean, he owned the game plan, had a really good feel for their defense going into it, and really just wanted to play as fast as he could. You know, like he knew going into it that we might have to be a little bit quicker with some of our decisions, and the ball needed to come out, and then we ended up pass proing really well, and he was able to sit back there comfortably a lot and go through some progressions. But yeah, I think that over time, typically relationships get a little bit better, and you start to figure each other out a little bit more, and you know, I was really proud of him Saturday night.
So after a game like that, do you spend more time reinforcing what you did right than correcting mistakes, or the other way around?
You know, it's a balance, right? I mean, there were still things in the past game that we, you know, needed to improve and do better at, but it was the run game, you know, and the efficiency there that we lacked, right? And that's the message, like that we still have yet to put 4 quarters of balanced Kentucky football together on offense. You know, we've done some really good things in specific areas, but we haven't put it all together yet, and that's the goal. Like, that's still the goal. That's why we're out here today with practicing with an intent to get better and to go down to a hostile environment on the road and get back to being physical and run the football better.
And we've seen Barry make plays when he get in the ball in space, beat people deep before, but when he makes those 50-50 catches, what does that kind of add to his
huge? It just allows the quarterback to just have so much more confidence in just putting the ball in the air, right? The ball can get up and down, the ball can get out of our hands earlier. It doesn't have to be a perfect, you know, drop it in the bucket type throw. It's great for our chemistry and just being on the same page, going up and making a play is huge for the confidence of our offense. And I was really proud to be the way he competed Saturday night, the way he played, the way he practiced today. I mean, hopefully we can continue to work off that momentum.
Can you talk a little bit about Mississippi State's defense and what threats you see out of them?
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt. It is. You know, it's a pain in the butt. They, you know, I have a lot of respect for those guys, what they've done defensively. You know, over the last few years, playing against them 2 years ago. You know, it's a tough, weird, you know, defense that you don't see every week, right? It's almost, you know, just different structures every play. Like, it truly tries to get you to identify one person in the run game, and then now you have to they drop somebody else in, and they're, you know, hoping that you don't account for him. And it makes your rules almost kind of get thrown out the window in some ways. Like, you can't identify specific people. It's more about spots. Like, we have to spot block a lot of our run game because of the problems that they present and some of the issues that they present, and then they fly around and then they play hard. And you know, I have a ton of respect for those guys down there and what they've done, and you know, it's making us work.
Liam, obviously you guys lost 3 in a row in 21 and it closed really well. What do you remember about what got that turned around, and what lessons can you kind of apply now?
Yeah, I think, you know, it took really the Tennessee game that we lost to get kind of back on track, even though, you know, we we lost that game. It was one of our better offensive outputs of the season. We were a little bit more balanced that game, right? But the outcome, the result was still the same. We lost, but we improved. And so, you know, you look to a game like last weekend to hopefully draw from, to, you know, to improve and to try to just see the message that we need to put it together. If we can put it together, man, you know, good things can happen and we can win football games. But in the SEC, on the road, in a hostile environment, against a really quality opponent, you have to go do that in order to go take a win, especially on the road like this.
Speaking of the environment and being on the
Yeah.
road, Kentucky hasn't beaten Mississippi State on the road since 2008. How much do
Right.
you think that's going to play a factor into this game?
Yeah, I think anytime you have that kind of success against an opponent on, you know, at your home turf, I'm sure there's confidence on their end, right? I mean, you beat an opponent consistently like that, I'm sure they have some confidence in that atmosphere and what it does create. And we had the cowbells going all day. So, you know, we know what it's going to be like. It's actually good. Devin Leary played there 2 years ago down in Starkville. So he's had a little experience playing down there. A lot of our players were there, obviously, 2 years ago. So you're hoping that, obviously, we go down there and we come together as a team, and that we can, you know, when you go on the road and travel, sometimes it's better to just kind of, we're all in. We're all who we have, and you come together a little bit as a team. So hopefully that chemistry can help us take care of business.
And you were talking earlier about trying to get that 4 quarters
Yeah.
together. Do you have a situation in the past you can recall where you got to like the week 8, week 9, and it wasn't happening, but maybe something clicked and you were able to find it late?
You know, I really do. I go back to 2021, really. I mean, you know, we clicked a little bit in that 6th game. It was the 5th game against LSU. We clicked, but we still weren't really throwing it great at that point. And then we go down to Georgia, lose, right? Go to Starkville, lose. And then we came back to Tennessee, and we had 99 plays, really, you know, we're well balanced. You know, didn't finish it at the end, but I think our kids drew a lot of confidence from that game. And you felt a similar feeling in the locker room after the game Saturday night, although we were all disappointed and really emotional and, you know, upset about the loss. Like, I can't tell you how many kids have said how much fun they had Saturday night, you know, and you have kids that are looking at that and saying that, well, they're talking about the process, talking about how fun it was to get better, to improve, to make plays. And so, you know, we've done some good things, right? Like, we've run the ball really well in specific games, and then we just showed last week that, you know, when we're doing all the right things and we're all playing at a high level, we can throw the ball well. So now, how do we put it all together? I think that's the challenge. That's where we're at this kind of, you know, going into this week at Starkville.
Liam, you mentioned Mississippi State's defense. Obviously, they're studying the Tennessee, all of your games, but they saw Tennessee walk 8 and 9 guys up to the box.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be, you think, the blueprint now?
I don't know. I mean, just threw for 372 yards.
Right.
You know, so I mean, I'm not gloating. That's not what I'm doing at all. I promise you that. But at least we did show that we can defeat man coverage. We can win a one-on-one go down the field. We can throw and catch when we need to. It was by far perfect. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I think that maybe that gave us, or gave opponents, a little bit more respect for the pass game, for our quarterback, for our protection, and for our, you know, skill players. So, I mean, that's what Tennessee walked up first play of the game. They put 9 in the box, said, you know, here we go. And we kind of thought that was going to happen, but maybe not that tight. And, you know, it took us a few series to get going, but ultimately we did, you know, execute the pass game that helps us moving forward.
And what Will did on Sunday, does that help you guys, both with your current players, recruiting, and start sending, I guess, clips of Will out there?
Yeah, it was awesome. I talked to him last night on the phone for a little while, and yeah, I mean, anytime a kid goes and has that kind of success in his first career start, you know, after the history that he had, you know, like the last year that he's had, and you know, he was in such a good place. I talked to him the week of the game, and he sounded so confident, you know, and then obviously went out and had that kind of experience. So yeah, I think it helps with the guys in the locker room, with the belief, with the recruiting, with just knowing that it is possible, right? You can do that from here, and that's the goal.
Liam, when you've been breaking down this film, Mississippi State's defense, how similar is it to what you saw 2 years ago versus if they made some tweaks that maybe made
Very similar, very similar. It's still just really annoying. It just is, and you see a group. They were really good 2 years ago. They were really good last year. They're really good right now in terms of the way that they create issues, and they play their tails off. But it's very similar. I know Zach is now the head coach, but it's the same philosophy, same type of structure and what they're trying to get accomplished. So it's very similar, but I won't be copying that game plan anytime soon.
I mean, you said annoying twice, but is it fun to just go get something different as offensive coordinator?
Yeah,
Challenges you?
It's a challenge. Yeah, I mean that's part of why you do this, right? You try to put the kids in the best possible situations to be successful on Saturday night, and that is a challenge. That is something that we do look forward to as coaches. I'd rather it to be a little less stressful, but it's been good.
Just how often do you said you don't really see that defense often, that 3-3-5. Just how many times have you seen it outside of Mississippi State?
Not often. I mean, it might be like they're probably the only ones, honestly. I mean, there's been other variations of 3-3-5 or 4-2-5 structures that we've seen, but not with the every snap movement and rotation of defenders and who's where. You really can't say, 44 is the Mike linebacker. I mean, he plays out at nickel, he plays at will, he plays all over the place. So everything's got to be spotted, and you try to give the kids enough information to not overwhelm and not overload for them to be able to go out and play. But man, when they're seeing all this, we got to. That's what we just talked about on the field is. Everybody was kind of frustrated today at practice. Even though there was great enthusiasm and environment and trying to get better, there was frustration. I said, guys, this is the intent of the defense. That's what it does. So we have to hard reset after each snap and go play the next play to the best of our ability.